Hey, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the debut of the Disgruntled Dads. And with me, I have here my co host. Please introduce yourself, my friend.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chien Herr. You have a good evening.
Okay. This is our very first pilot episode, so you're going to expect a bit of. I'm hoping no technical errors, but it's going to be quite rough. For the next 45 minutes, John and myself, we are going to set in place a certain structure and feel to the Disgruntled Dads. And what is the Disgruntled Dads about? Is basically two dads with young children, respectively, his family and my family. We are not married. And we have this crazy idea and we look at what's out there in the market and we try to inculcate all that into our kids. So I feel like, to borrow a gaming terminology, our children is like our avatar and we try to level them up and hopefully they don't die in the process. Tell us more about you, bro.
well, as Eugene mentioned, I have two young children, beautiful kids, boy and a girl, and it's been an interesting journey for me and the family, and obviously the kids, which may pop up anytime depending on what they're doing now. Hopefully, they should be sleeping, but we're here today to share a bit more about what we do with the kids, and hopefully, we can hear from you too.
All right. What are you doing with your kids today?
It's been a weekend that has seen us do actually many things. We just actually finished the game of Dixit. If you have heard the game before, it's one of those where a storyteller tries to tell a story and everybody tries to guess. And if you don't guess it right, or if actually one person gets it right, and then the storyteller gets points. And the whole idea is a bit of a cloaks and daggers. I kind of bluff you with my theme for the story and you try to guess whether it's correct or not. So it's actually quite a useful game for little children, especially when they explore their creativity and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going to spell it for you. It's Dixit, right? Dixit.
That's correct.
Yeah, I played that game before. I think, as you can tell, this Chen and myself, we are Lao gamers lah. Can call us Lao gamers. We are gamers from a very young age. We never stop gaming. We love our board games, our card games. We do stuff for a living. This is stuff that we do on the side, that we want to share with the rest of the world. But we'll tell you about what we do in future. I think there's a lot of time to share that over the next couple of episodes. But as you can guess, we are gamers and we use, in this Disgruntled Dad series, at least for the very first season, you'll find a lot of references to games, game mechanics, game terminologies. And the reason for that, I feel, is that when we look at games, it almost reflects the instances that we experience in life. The winning, the losing, the frustration, meeting different people, different personalities, navigating the social fabric, the network, resource management, everything that you can think about in life, you can find that in games. So for Disgruntled Dads, we are always talking about how to improve children empowerment. So we felt that perhaps using a game-driven angle to helping our children improve themselves would be very useful for anyone who wants to chime in, tune in, and listen to what we have to say.
That's right. I mean, let's keep this interactive. For all of you those out there watching us, if you have any comments, anything to share, feel free to put it in there.
Yeah.
And we'll try to read it out and then we'll see what we can get from there.
I want to give a warm welcome to our very, very first listener, Mel Chen, who says, "Well done, Jin." Thank you, Mel, for tuning in. Do like and share, spread to all your friends. The more people who tune in, the more ideas we share. As we start to discuss, it's going to get vibrant, and that whole mishmash of different ideas that come together. We can all only benefit from that. Yeah. Okay, so I understand this is our very first episode, and Chien Herr, don't be disheartened. That's how all new channels start. The numbers will grow, but again, we're not doing this for the numbers. We're doing this for the love of our children. And Chien Herr and myself, we always find ourselves sitting down, either doing car rides along to clients' place or just chilling out, and we all have these great ideas. So instead of spending 1 hour talking to Chien Herr by his poolside, I thought we're gonna have a 1 hour conversation for you guys to tune in as well if you want to. So today, Chien Herr, tell us what is today's topic.
Well, we're going to start off with something quite interesting. And if you look at the notes we have today, we want to how to go about developing a winning mindset in children. And I think this is something that strikes at the core of every parent, right? You want to basically give your child the best. You want to nurture them. You want to educate them. But apart from all the hard skills that we give them, I think the soft skills is very important. And creating and developing a winning mindset is something that we feel is pretty important, especially if you be able to sort of train the children from young. The idea of making them understand what it means to win will probably put them in good state for the rest of their lives. So what we're going to talk about today is not about how to create a winner out of your child. I think that's something everybody wants to do. But what we really want to do is go deeper than that and look into the idea about a winning mindset. So maybe, Eugene, what is a winning mindset?
I was just thinking, right? You went on that whole line about winning mindset, winners. So I was thinking, what the hell are we talking about here? Like, isn't the winning mindset supposed to be the winner's mindset? Like, is there really a big difference? So I don't know what Chien Herr has planned to tell you about that. I'm going to give you my definition of a winning mindset versus a winner's mindset. I feel, from my point of view, a winning mindset does not necessarily equate to a winner. You can try to win. You can win in life. You can win in the game. You may not get first. Does it make sense? Because I think when I say I speak for you as well. In our era, we are always gunning for number one. First place. Gold standard. 98 for exam, not good enough. You got to get 200. You got to get 100. You come in fifth in class, that's not good enough. You need to get first in class. That chase for number one, that's a winner's mindset. But a winning mindset, to me, is about the journey and the process, but not necessarily the number one spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you've definitely hit the nail on the head, to be honest. The whole idea here is about trying to discover that drive in your little one, or the determination in your little one, to be encouraged and not be discouraged, even if you don't succeed, even if he or she doesn't become number one, but to approach every issue and every problem with the mentality that I'm going to do my best, I want to try to win, but even if I can't, it's not the end of the world, because there's another challenge for me coming after this one. So I think this is the whole idea about, and the concept about trying to create a winning mindset in children. And if you think about it a bit more, how often do you have the opportunity in your day-to-day life to actually say, yes, I have created a scenario whereby I could nurture my child into developing a winning mindset? I think it's tough, especially for us in Singapore, where we are so bogged down on a day-to-day basis with the trials of everyday life, right? You've got school, you've got enrichment classes, you've got to make sure that they get their things in order and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's just like the day just passes by, and time just flies. So how often do you really sit down with a child and try to develop a winning mindset? And that's the thing that we are trying to look at today.
But also this kind of thing, you just cannot sit a child down today and, okay, for next 1 hour, John, Leonidas, sit down. I'm going to flip open the textbook for you, and today we're going to do about winning mindset. It doesn't work that way. Also, I just want to check with you, bro. You're a dad with 2 kids, right?
That's right.
And we're talking about winning mindset today, not the winner's mindset, not number one. But
yes,
I don't know about you, but I do find that there is also a big discrepancy where society flips over its head, and even if you get last in class, but you have made an attempt, that's fine, John. We're going to give you a medal of participation. Like, one is extreme, like you're only going to go for gold. The other is anybody wins an award. Like, where do you stand on this line?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? I mean, obviously, if everybody is so-called awarded a certificate of participation, then it makes the whole competition a nonsense in the first place.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're not looking at everybody. We're looking at the child in front of you, your child. And the question is,
if your child get last in class, would you be happy?
Yeah. Well, of course not. I mean, nobody is. Let's face the truth. Nobody's going to be excited or happy just because he gets last in class. But I think it's important that we all take a step back and realize that getting last in class is not the end of the world, right? There's many other chances where he or she will climb up the ladder, do better in class. And I think there are more than enough stories out there to show that there are very successful people who may not necessarily be first in class, may not necessarily graduate or with a university degree, and they do very well in life. And at the end of the day, as parents, what do you really want from your child? Do you want your child to be a winner? Or are you looking for your child to be happy and mentally sound? And I think that's really where the winning mindset comes into play, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, spot on that, man. I see 5 new eyeballs or 5 pairs of new eyeballs coming in. Welcome to the show, the Disgruntled Dads. If you have just joined us and you're wondering what is this 2 guys about, one wearing black, one wearing white, during 7 months is like the Hei Pai Wu Chang talking to you guys. This is not a 7-month Kertai. This is the Disgruntled Dad Show, our very first pilot episode where we are talking about the winning mindset. If you have just joined us, what you missed out is the difference between winning and winner. So we are talking about the journey and the process to get to number 1, not necessarily being number 1. And I think the biggest difference that I can see in this shift of mindset for parents is that back then, it's always been about memorizing and regurgitating blindly what you studied in the textbook just to score the points, just to game the system to get number 1. But if you're talking about learning for the sake of learning, which is winning because you're not going for goal, in this case, you're taking a baby step in front of you, 1 step at a time to get to where you want to be. It is a lot about problem solving. It's a lot about being persistent. And I think the number 1 thing that I like my child to take away from this is not giving up. Previously in our generation, failure is terminal. You fail, you stay back, you're a loser for life. You're not in the top express class. You are in the normal tech or God forbid ITE back then, not now. You're a loser in life. There was no room for failures. But like you clearly pointed out just now, there's so many successful people out there that they are somewhere in between, but they have a lot more robust skill set and time spent on every other part of their kid, of themselves, like values and character, that really give them a lot more mileage out of society.
True that. I second that and echo that. I think at the end of the day, one takeaway that I would like to pass across to anybody who's watching this is that if you do not participate, there's no chance of whether you'll win or you'll lose. And the whole idea as a child, it is really giving them the opportunity to participate in as many different things as possible, right? I mean, casting aside whether they or may have the attributes or whether they are good at that particular thing that they're going to do or not. But the mere fact is that they are willing to take a step forward to try something different, which they have not experienced before. I think that's really the building block for winning mentality. Somebody who has the willingness and determination to actually try to do something and put themselves out of their comfort zone.
A for effort, right? We always say that. A for effort. You can only try. And if my child succeeds on first try, I wouldn't celebrate the win because that's a fluke. Right?
Ouch.
Right? I would make him. I would cheer him on. Huh? What?
Or genius, to be fair. You might have a genius in the making.
Okay lah, you gotta show daddy you can hit it a second time and a third time lah. If you're consistently acing it 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm like, okay, son, you're a genius in the making. You get it right the first time, then second time, third time, fourth time, what happened? I would discount the first one as pure luck. So, but if you could just summarize this entire thing that we talked about in one sentence for anyone listening to us, we spoke a lot, but if there is one advice that we can give them, what would it be to think this way?
I think the fear of losing is the last thing you want to impart in your child. And to avoid doing that, the whole idea is allowing your child to be able to go out there and try and attempt and participate in the hope that they take away something from it. I mean, whether they take away the joy for it, the dislike for it, it is an experience. And we all learn through experiences and building blocks. So the key takeaway is really for us to build a winning mentality in children. I think is being able to participate, right? You need the child to go out there and do it.
Yeah. I thought of a cool line, bro. The key to winning is to first embrace the losses. Sounds cool, right? I don't know if that makes sense to any of you. But you got to keep failing before you can hit success. That's what I'm trying to say.
I totally agree, actually. I mean, this is one of the other things that goes into the heart of creating a winning mindset, right? You know, what and how does a child know what does winning feel like? It's easy for us because we have been through life and we kind of know what winning feels like. But as a young child who hasn't seen much in the world from their very, very young age, do they really appreciate what winning is like? Or is winning to them just being better than their peers? In which case, would it be better for them to understand what it feels like to lose first? Then will they fully appreciate what it feels like to win? And then if you can move that forward and say that, actually, at the end of the day, just because I may have won something, doesn't mean that, it's the be all and end all. It's about appreciating all the hard work and effort that I've gone through to reach this stage, and also embracing the fact that people out here are competing with me, playing with me, and I should also give them due credit where credit is due. I think that really sums up what winning mentality is all about. It's being able to participate, go out there, embrace your losses, being able to be a gracious winner, and have fun in the process and ensure that your friends don't hate you. I mean, nobody likes a winner that was so arrogant and, basically I'm the winner and then goes around mocking everybody. I think that those are very important attributes that we should try to impart to other ones.
Speaking of gracious winner, true story, okay? I had an ex-girlfriend once. This was we've parted ways a long time ago, and we're not in contact. So I'm okay to share her name on screen. Samantha Ong. This I think back in 2006 or 2007. So we were playing Monopoly, and I bought a lot of the houses, and she kept lending on and paying me rent, and she got so fed up. She flipped the entire board. Really, really flipped the entire board. She's one person I know who's really competitive, and she was brought up in our environment where the parents said, you are either number one or you are zero. There is no second place. You remember all those motivational posters? Second place is the first loser. Remember that one? So there's this whole idea that I cannot lose. I cannot get second place. But you fast forward to today's generation. I just want to share another anecdote that this winning mindset is so important when it's applied correctly. I think you were there, right? We ran a board game session.
Oh, yes.
The Heroes Within, a game, is a workshop for children to discover their personality. Did I get it right?
That's right.
I know it was a very long.
Yeah, we had fun that day.
Yeah. So we had some kids in the room with two adults. Chien Herr and myself were like mega kids, and there were two smaller kids. And it was so clear who's having fun. The girl won the game. Remember that? The girl won the game.
Yes.
Or she got second place. You got first place.
Yeah. That's right.
You got first place. The girl got second place or third place. I can't remember. Who remembers the second and third anyway, right? So I got either third or second. She got third or second. Chien Herr, who knows the game very well, he got first like a couple of times in a row. But the one who has the most fun is not even the second place or the third place or the first place guy. It was the last place winner, the guy.
Yeah.
He was
the
having
boy,
his
right?
own mini game. He was like laughing, and he was really having a ball of a time. So when we look at that entire scenario, when you have the other student in class who says, I didn't get first place, or when she starts the game 2 rounds in, she goes like, I'm sure going to lose. But she was actually 1 round of 3 or 4 rounds. She drew with you, so she was technically first place, if not always second place and third place. But the one who had the most fun was the boy. So you see, in the game of life, how this can be extrapolated, and put it into a real world scenario when she grows up older. What are we going for in life anyway? Are we going for the biggest paycheck, the biggest car, or are we just going for happiness? Something to think about. What about you? Do your kids have any real life stories that you can show these values in practice?
Yeah, I mean, we have, since COVID started, obviously, we've been staying home quite a bit and we've been playing a lot of board games. And what we've realized when the kids are first exposed to a new game is that there's a general reluctance because they are unsure and they are unknown of they're not sure of the rules. They don't want to look like fools. They don't want to lose, right? It is very competitive. But as we progress and we have different options and different games, and we play more and more with them, they have come to embrace the fact that every game has a winner, which also means that there will be losers in the game. But during the process, it is about finding their element, if I could say that so, and how they can improve themselves within the game and having fun. I think that's very important. The family bonding time, having fun, and saying as a winner that, good game to everybody, let's do it again next time. And if even for the loser to say the same thing, goes to show that I feel at the very least that they have ingrained in themselves that the key is to play. And once they play, be it win or lose, that's life.
Yeah, I think it's easier when you're using a tool like that to weave the lesson in, as opposed to telling them what it's like.
Yes, definitely, right? They're not going to be students in a lecture hall listening to you after more than 30 seconds.
Taking down notes. Daddy says you must be gracious. Shake hand after winning or losing. Then you're just going through motion. You're just doing instruction manual, ticking off the checkbox. Okay, so again, if you just join us, this is the Disgruntled Dad. My name is Eugene Tay, and that man over there, his name is
Chien Herr.
We are both daddies, and we believe in helping our kids grow up to be the best they can be. And today we're talking about developing the winner's mindset. And welcome to the show. If you just joined us, if you are not, and you've been listening to us from the start, thank you for staying with us. The next part, we're going to tell you 4 quick tips on how you can get your child to get into this mindset. Okay? You can take down your pen and paper, or you can always replay this video to get the tips. Number 1, ask your child what lessons they have learned from the activity or the assignment, because we are only looking at the process, the journey, not so much the destination. So what have you learned? There's no right and wrong. When you ask a right and wrong question, most children will just clam up because they know that there is a wrong answer. But when it's something like, what have you learned? It allows them to dig inside, search, and give you what they feel is true to them. Chien Herr, you take number 2.
Before we end number 1, we're going to hit the common don't know, which is very common for my kids. And I think you just have to take a deep breath and prod it slowly through. Because most little children always respond to easy answers. Don't know? Right? So I think it's a useful discussion process to have this conversation with them. You may not get your answers straight away, but at least it helps them to think. So number 2, praise the effort, not the results. I think it's easier said than done. But always consciously as parents, remember, you shouldn't be looking at the results in a way whereby your child thinks it's a be-all and end-all. Yeah. Being able to participate, putting the effort is also worth mentioning, and it's definitely commendable.
How much do you get for you're effectively bilingual, right, Chien Herr?
Yes.
So you can probably guess English is my primary and dominant language. I can speak a bit of Chinese to save my life, trying to order food or trying to, ask a girl for her number. Hi, 小姐，你很漂亮，可以给我你的号码吗? That's memorizing from a 10-year series. But if you ask me for my O level, I've been a straight F student all the way. And for my O level, I got C6. C6, bro. and I ran around the corridor of my level, and I yelled, "I passed!" Because in O level, you pass the first time Chinese, you don't have to take the second time, right? And
I'm actually sweating a little bit here because I'm thinking, what are you going to ask me next? Are you going to ask me number 3 in Chinese? And I'm scrambling in my head.
Well, let's try doing number 3 in Chinese.
Oh, thankfully for the 30 seconds you give me the heads up for. So here it goes. Number 3. 胜败乃兵家常事.
I have no idea what you just said.
胜败乃兵家常事. So basically what it means, winning and losing is part of the course for those in the military. So what does it do for when you bring it down to the children? I think really what we're trying to say here is that for the little ones, encouraging them to participate in games, and then letting them know that winning and losing is part of the course is a useful sort of tool to help them get into the process without becoming overly concerned about what if I lose.
Hey, I want to share with you a story. Do we have time? I think we do, right?
Okay.
You know, I used to run creative writing school.
Yes.
And I teach kids to write and get published.
Yes. Your days of monsters under the bed. Yeah.
How many writers do you know when they first publish their manuscript, they get picked up by a publisher and get printed straight away? I don't know any.
Okay.
But for children, and I'm talking about these are the good schools. We're talking about the CEDA girls, the RGSs, the Methodist Girls School, where they are not used to failure, not used to being told no. And I had to turn this whole thing around and gamify it for them, where I said, if anyone gets published on their first try, it's all pure luck. And you do not have you cannot tout yourself as a writer. You have not gone through the trial by fire. The real successful cases are the writers who collects a whole stack of rejection slips. Because that tells me you have gone through, if you have 300 rejection slips, you have gone through at least 300 publishers, submit your manuscript, knock on doors. And even if you don't get, then, we can always refine your work. So we turned it into a whole gamify their experience, and they started sending out their manuscript, hoping to get printed, but accepting the rejection, because every rejection is a battle scar. So that was how I changed the entire mindset for these top students, and eventually some of them actually got picked up, but not on first try. So embracing failure as part of life. Okay, number 4.
Yep.
Should I do it or should you do it?
You're going to wrap it up?
Yeah. Or you have anything else to add to that?
I'll leave it to you.
Okay. Last one.
No.
Teach your child to value.
Well.
So you're supposed to say something?
So, yours, all yours.
Oh, okay. Teach your child to value and appreciate the experience instead of just focusing on the end result. So, my child loves to hike. And in the early days, when we say that there is a start, there's a finish, he will just walk to the very end because he needs to clock in at 3 kilometers and he's done. And so what I did for him is I started leaving clues around the path for him to pick up along the way, like a little physical, tangible Pokemon. And then turning the entire experience into not just a hike anymore, but treasure hunting, monster hunting. When you go to these places, you need to collect your equipment, you need to find monsters. There's 5 monsters here and there. So he started looking around the place as he's walking. So he's appreciating the experience as he realizes that there's an old ruin there, or there's even a piece of rock becomes something more experiential. So again, this is using gaming method, gaming mindset to turn an entire process into something enjoyable for your child. Because telling your child, hey, you must enjoy the process is something that adults don't even enjoy. How would a child enjoy a process, right? So be creative, put stuff down along the way for your child to pick up and gain some experience along the way. You get what I mean?
Yep. I think that's interesting. I mean, we are so bogged down on a day-to-day basis that sometimes you just need to make that little extra effort to look at things from a child's lens or child's perspective, and enabling them to trying to gamify certain things that they do is definitely one of the ways to go. And it helps to create a conversation and create the winning mentality that we're talking about.
Okay, that's our quick tips. Not exactly very quick, but tips. 4 tips that you can use. I think if, frankly, this 4 is something that I felt was very easy to achieve on a day-to-day level. So not complex, not complicated enough. Just a slight twist to the mentality, and hopefully you can see some big difference. We're almost coming to the end of the show. We are at a half an hour mark. I think not too bad, Mr. Lee, for our very first debut Disgruntled Dads episode.
Considering that this is all unscripted and we're just talking, I think we're doing fine.
Well, I got to get used to it, man, because this is going to be every week for us. Our very first pilot season, we are aiming for 6 episodes. You let us know if you're watching us live or on a repeat telecast or on Spotify where this is a podcast. Let us know in the comment section. Reach out to us on our Facebook, Eugene Tay or Lee Chien Herr. Check out the disgruntleddads.com on our website. Get in touch with us. Let us know what is it you want to hear. You think whether we are doing a good job. We are, you learn something from this. We want to hear from you because we don't know whether we are doing a good job or not. We think this is what we want to hear, so we are giving you what we want. Also, if you think you like what you hear and you want to support us, you think, hey, I want to buy this guy a drink. Okay, you can do that for us. buymeacoffee.com/disgruntleddads with an S. You can buy us either a coffee or a beer. All right, or 2, 3, 4, 5. You can buy us as many as you like, and we'll assure you that this money goes to very good cause. Being creative requires a bit of alcohol. Yeah. Are you a beer drinker, Jenna, or you coffee?
More of a coffee, actually, with the kids keeping you awake and waking up really early. I think the coffee is important.
Okay, coffee for Chien Herr, beer for me. Same price. For same price, I think beer more worth it. We got $5 beer. Okay, let's wrap this up, and we have one final segment to go to. What are some of the things that people can do? Because we say that we can't just sit the kid down to teach the kid how to have a winning mindset. What can they do? Can you share with us something that you do with your kids?
Yeah, I think it's always easy to use an activity to impart such stuff because otherwise it's very abstract and you're talking in vacuum. So if your kids and you are into sports and you guys can enjoy playing sports is a perfect way to help develop a winning mindset in little children. The idea of playing against each other, playing with each other, playing the team, regardless of whatever sport. I think sports is a perfect tool. Well, and we have to admit that, we all try to be sporty and enjoy some sporting activities from time to time. But sometimes, hey, time doesn't permit. The weather doesn't permit. You can't do sports. What do? You then stay at home and turn on the TV or watch us, which is great. But no, there's something else you could try thinking of doing, which is really going back to what we used to do when we were kids. Board games. Eugene, you want to take this?
No, you can take it. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're going so well, bro. Yeah, board games. I use board games as well, card games with my kid. I love to have him out there. So sports, outdoor activity. I try to weave in, like I mentioned just now, gamify elements into the hiking activity. But you're right. On days we don't want to go out there, board games is the way to go to. Unfortunately, if your child is young, I don't think there's a lot of great products out there for very young children to actually adopt all these kind of values. Dixit is one, right? You play Dixit. Do we have Ticket to Ride? What else? I like Betrayal on House on Haunted Hill. My kid, who I bought this for him at 5, he's now 6, is Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Start them young.
I think different strokes for different folks. I mean, you probably find a board game that you may like, or you may have not found a board game that you may like. But there are so many board games out there that you should definitely give them a try.
Yeah.
There are those that are easy to play, element of luck, roll a dice, see where it goes. Snakes and ladders falls into the category. It's a classic. There's always Monopoly. Helps you to think, count. Again, element of luck.
No, as an adult, I find Monopoly totally broken. As a game designer, I find Monopoly a very terrible game. I don't know why it's so popular. It's probably great marketing back then and everyone has a Monopoly set, but it's terrible. It's a terrible system.
I just hope nobody works at Hasbro listening to us. They probably come find us with a lot of letters. So
Hasbro, if you're listening in, you should hire us. We'll design better games than Monopoly, but we'll hire you as our marketing team because you do a very good job marketing Monopoly. Okay, sorry, sidetrack a bit, right? Monopoly, if you by chance, by the roll of a die, not by your skill, not by your skill of accounting or financial planning or resource management, roll die, you land on the right spot, it costs the most money, and everybody else bad luck and they fall on your spot, you win. When you start losing in Monopoly, it's almost impossible to turn around. If you don't have the property in Monopoly, you must well just give up. But that's not a winner's mindset, right? Or winning mindset.
Oh, unless you're a really good dice roller and then you have a job somewhere in the Marina Bay Sands in the future. But we sidetrack.
Yeah,
well, I mean, as you play more and more games with the little ones, it would be good to explore moving away from games that rely on the dice, simply because dice has a very big element of luck. Obviously, every game has an element of luck, but being able to have games that help the child strategize and think and plan and move and solve certain problems within the game, I think those would be interesting to explore with a child.
I like Dungeons and Dragons because it gives my kid a very open world feel, like a very safe sandbox environment where there is no strict structure. There's a bit of rules to follow, but pretty much anything goes in that sandbox environment. Yeah.
And just to be clear, when we're talking about games here, we're really talking about physical board games or games that involve human interaction. I mean, obviously, there's this whole proliferation of digital games at the moment, and everyone's very onto it. Mobile games, computer games, console games. Whilst they do serve their purpose and we do like them for what they do, I think for very young children, what they really want is to have that atmosphere where you can interact with them and teach them about what they're doing within the game, rather than a mishmash of buttons and getting excited with big sounds and stuff like that. So, again, pro tip, let's start off with the classics.
Yeah.
Board games, allowing for bonding time and interaction, we feel is the way to go.
You just played Dixit with your kid, right? This is just a curveball for you. Did they learn anything from that? Or do you notice anything that they picked up from that? Or
the interesting thing about Dixit tonight was basically my youngest daughter decided that she wanted to play the game, even though I think that she's definitely not, at the level where it's easy for her to play the game. But she did pretty well. A bit of tears here and a bit of tears there. At one stage, she was leading. So you could see that the more they play, the more they're inspired. And just before the show started, they actually went for a second round with their mom. And so there you go. And for mommy, that was the first time playing the game. And so it was obviously an interesting experience for her. But, I value that, as you said earlier, the journey. The fact that we were spending time and they were all having fun playing the game.
I noticed that adults generally fare much worse than children in picking up a new game.
The fear of losing, isn't it?
I guess so. Fear of losing or coming to the table with such a fixed idea of what an old game is like that they cannot wrap their head around certain strategy.
True.
Yeah.
Well, interesting anecdote that I thought I would share for those of you who are listening out here, watching us. Some of you may have heard of this very classic ancient game called Mahjong or Mahjiang, testing my Chinese. And I think most of us will have encountered it in some form or shape or form, and we've played it before. I used to play, and I still do play, and I do play quite a bit of the game actually. But there's a period of time in my life where I was actually playing with clients, people that we do work for as part of our day-to-day jobs. And one of the first things that I was told was, you should never win your client's money.
Okay.
Pro tip, right?
Pro tip.
Which makes sense. But then it got me to play the game at a level that I've never played before. How do you play a game such that you don't lose, but yet you don't win?
Wow. High
I
level.
will come back to that in another session some other time, but that's really interesting. Because once you reach that level where you're playing to neither win or lose, because obviously there's some little minor stakes involved when you come to play Mahjong. And the good news is, from August onwards, social gambling is no longer an offense. The law has made it pretty clear that. Anyway, so the long and short of the story was, if you come to a level where you actually can play neither to win nor to lose, you actually see it differently. And if you try playing for kids, consider doing that. As a parent playing with a child, it's not about you winning, neither is it about you losing. It's really about getting the child to play the game, participate, and enjoy the process.
I gotta hear you say that word again. I think you've been saying that word a couple of times in this session today. Where you go, pro tip. Oh, I found that really cool. I think that should be your new shtick, Chien Herr.
Okay.
Like, pro tip.
I will try.
Then like, okay, we all listen up. Like, what's this? What's he trying to tell me now? I find that, okay, as parents, sometimes when we have our kids and they are refusing to try, like my kid, when he tries to cycle on two-wheel, he doesn't like to try again. He tries one time, he cannot make it, he wants to give up.
Yeah.
But somehow when you start playing board games, there is, when you play the first round and you're done, usually either you win or you lose, you want to play the second time. For children even. Because they think they have found something out that they have not found it at the start of the game. And then they incorporate this new idea into round 2. Then they discover something else. Then they do round 3, round 4. So I think there is, okay, I'm not an expert here. I'm not a child psychologist, and I do not have the statistics to see how that has translated into success stories. But I can almost imagine seeing a child want to play the game over and over and over again. That must count for something, because when you ask them to do any other thing out there other than game, they're very reluctant to try it second time or third time. Any idea how we can you can take out that attribute and put it into real life?
I think it goes back to enjoying that process, right? They see something, they play it, and they think they're having fun, and they want to repeat that again because it's fun, right? I mean, it's difficult to quantify it, but at the end of the day, playing a game does invoke a certain degree of competitiveness in all of us. The key is to be able to harness that competitiveness in a way that is useful for the child, because it inspires them to want to do more, and it inspires them to want to do better.
I think it boils down to gamification mechanics. This can be an entire episode on its own where we talk about gamification mechanics, how we make our child be incentivized from external stimulus, external motivation, and convert it to intrinsic motivation into wanting to do the stuff that you tell them on their own. And if you think gamification is a bunch of hogwash, we adults, actually, we fall for gamification all the time. Very simple one is your stamping thing when you go to Hai Di Lao. No, sorry, not Hai Di Lao. What's the steamboat place? Got a lot of soft toy on. Shi Li Fang.
Okay, Shi Li Fang.
Okay, Shi Li Fang is not sponsoring the show, by the way. This is my kid love Shi Li Fang. And you go there, you spend a certain amount of money, you get chopped. You collect your chops, you can exchange for a soft toy. That itself is gamification. There's a reward to that, and people love to go there because to get that soft toy. Even though the soft toy is cheap, it's ugly, we never use it, but you know, between Steamboat Shop A and Steamboat Shop B, can get soft toy. Okay, we go there. Yeah. All right. Coming to the end of the show, and since we're talking about board games, this is something that we are very proud of. Chien Herr and myself, we designed this during the time of COVID. We started planning it, and one thing led to another. We'll tell you the story another time. We are about to launch our very, very first board game. This live stream is recorded on the 6th of August. And this board game, Let's Go Singapore Edition, will be out on the 8th of August, a day before National Day. This is 2022, by the way. Tell us a bit more about Let's Go, Chien Herr.
Well, I think we've talked so much about using board game as a tool, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we actually spent time designing this board game simply because we felt that there was a dearth of board games in the market for a certain age group of children. I mean, we talked about Monopoly, we talked about Snakes and Ladders, we talked about Eugene's obvious disdain for Monopoly and their various thousands of editions, and voila, here we are. Let's Go Singapore Edition. So what's the game about? Happy to share more details with you, but you can find out more about it on the website and the web link below.
Yeah.
But we guarantee this to be a game that is fun and going to be engaging for your little one. It's not overly complex. There are some educational elements there. It may not be the best or the most perfect board game ever, but hey, nothing ever is, right? So your feedback, your comments, very important, helps us take a board and maybe we can get a better version up after this.
Yeah.
But before we can do anything, we need you to play it.
Yeah. If you want to get this box set, this is the pre-launch version right now. There's some promotion going on. It's okay if you're listening to us after the 8th, you can still go to this website to check out the merchandise. Owl Readers Club. The link is on our YouTube description section. owlsreadersclub.sg. Go check out Let's Go Singapore Edition. Type in the promo code MERLI, MERLI. You can only get that code when you're listening to us on this show, either on Spotify, podcast, or our YouTube channel. And then you will get this very beautiful Color with Malayans limited edition exclusive set from Singapore Tourism Board, who is a proud supporter of this product that we've just developed. Also, thank you to LTA, that's our Land Transport Authority, for supporting this game. Owls Readers Club for being our official exclusive online retail store. However, if you're in town and you just want to walk around, buy it from the shops itself, you can go down to Design Orchard, Singapore Flyer, Kinokuniya Singapore, or Elm Tree Books. Elm Tree Books have 4 outlets: Parkway Parade, Kallang Wave Mall, Orchard Paragon, Raffles Exchange, to get your physical sets from a physical store. If you're listening to us overseas and you're wondering, how can I get my hands on this very beautiful game, go to Chris Shop. That's KRISS, I believe, or KRISSSHOP. They will do overseas delivery. So very easy to get your hands on these products. But we do encourage you to get it online because our Readers Club is our affiliate channel for this show. So for every set you buy through Owls Readers Club, we get about 15%, 10%. We get a small amount, under $10, to sort of put in a little kitty that will go to making the show better. We got to get Chien Herr headphones and a mic.
That's the aim.
Yeah. So if you don't want to buy the game because you don't have children, you think that, you're too old for board games. Actually, there's no one too old for board games. You can also buy us a coffee. It's buymeacoffee.com/Disgruntled Dads. Every donation amount is appreciated. Or you watching this show, liking and sharing and commenting is reward enough for us. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap, bro?
Well, it's our first show. Again, as we said, it's the journey, not the end. We come to the end. Hope to do better the next one. Happy to hear what you have to say. Anything that you want us to talk about, happy to talk about it too. So drop us a note, drop us likes, and drop us comments, and we'll see you next time.
Well, next week, what shall we talk about? Do you have anything on your mind?
Well, I would like to actually spend the time talking about the game that we developed so that people who have heard us may take the opportunity to find out more about what this game was about and why we didn't design it in the first place.
Okay. So next week, we're going to open up the hood to the board games. Today, we talk about board games and how it can improve your child's winning mindset. Next week, we're going to go under the hood and look at game design, the philosophy of game design, why we do certain things, and the mindset behind that. So stay tuned next week. Tell all your friends. The Disgruntled Dads. That's Chien Herr and Eugene Tay. You'll see you next week. Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right.
Bye.